What's happening, everybody? I'm Jason. This is my studio. As always, welcome. Today we're going to be talking about navigation. What we used, how we used it, and what we did to keep ourselves from getting lost. This will be a bit of a continuation from the tutorial we did last time on map creation. If you didn't get a chance to check it out, check the description below. And for those of you that are like, Jason, what is this and why am I in your studio? Great question. Jason's studio is going to cover everything tech in the off-road overland world. From map creation to navigation to camera gear and communication, we're going to cover it all. But first, how about that intro? Because I love tech so much, and that's pretty much what this is about anyways, I'm going to go over the way we navigate the outdoors, our tablet. Now we also bring hard maps when we go out because you never know what can happen, but primarily we use our iPad with MotionX GPS and Gaia. We used MotionX GPS for the first part of our expedition, and the second part we used Gaia. So in the spirit of competition, we thought we'd do a heads-up one-on-one comparison of the two and see which actually works best for what we do. Keep in mind, if you use an Android platform, you won't be able to use MotionX GPS because it's an iOS application, but you're going to want to stay tuned anyways and see how this thing unfolds. There's also a ton of stuff that's, in each of these applications, so to keep it short and concise, we're going to go over three things: function, ease of use, and offline map availability. So let's dig into this. Okay, let's talk functions. How do they work? What options do we have? What bells and whistles are necessary? And what's just extra? We're going to go through the basic functions of both of these applications and just show you how easy they are to use, what functions they have, and what you'll be using on a regular basis. So let's dive into it. We're going to start with MotionX GPS, and what you have here is your basic map screen. This is going to be the screen that you're going to look at 90% of the time. Let's unpack the functions. Okay, on your right side you have the obvious center. Click that once, it's going to basically follow in the direction that you're going in. If you do it twice, it's going to keep true north in front of you, and then you can scroll back through. You have your zoom in, your zoom out, your menu buttons, your search bar, and then your side options here. This is going to be your display. There's not a whole lot here. These are going to be your units, all of that sort of thing. If you want to lock the screen, which isn't a bad idea when you're on the trail because sometimes you end up bumping it a lot, you have your screen lock right here, and then you can slide to unlock. Pretty easy. And as you go down, you have your search address bar. This is just going to pop up your bar for your search options. So if you want a point of interest, an address, latitude and longitude, that sort of thing, you can enter it in there. Continuing on down, we have measure. This is kind of a cool tool. Only thing lacking in this is the fact that you can only go from point A to point B. As the crow flies, you can't bend the line to show you a little bit more accurate mileage. So let me show you how to use this really quick. We're going to zoom in here to a road. We're going to put point A and point B. So at the top, you basically have the distance of your line is, the bearing it's at, and the latitude and longitude of your start and end point. So that's kind of a cool tool. You have your music option. This is a nice handy tool if you're traveling along on the road and you want to control your music. Your layers. This is where you have a few more options. This is going to be where you have all your tracks and your waypoints showing, and this gives you the option to either show them or not, and I'll show you here really quick. I'm going to show all my waypoints, and you can see they all popped up over here, and you can see all the waypoints there. I can hide all of them, and as you can see, you basically have those for all these. So you have all your basic functions in here to show all the layers that you want to show while you're on there. All the maps that you're going to use in your catalog are right here on the side under the handy tab called Maps. That's pretty much your functions. You have the search button here, which is going to pull up a whole new menu with a bunch of options, different ways to search. And then you have the menu button, which is going to pop up even more options and even more ways to search and even more things you can do with this app. Let's hop over to Gaia. Okay, here's where the differences start to get evident. Here's the map page for Gaia. Basically, this bottom bar gives you all your real-time updates, and you can customize it however you want. There's lots of options. To customize it, hold down on one of the options, and you can scroll through to see all the different options for that tile. You have your record button, which is going to record your tracks. You got the picture button, which is obviously going to open up your camera. The record button is going to record your tracks. That's something you want to kind of keep handy. Whenever you go on a trip, if you record your tracks, when you come back, you can see where you've been in the area for future use. We'll go through the top bar options. you have your map layers, and this is going to give you all your map layer options. The cool thing about Gaia is you can actually overlay maps to see 2 maps at a time. To do that, click on another map. It'll bring it up here to this top bar, and you can adjust the transparency to either see one or the other more clearly. The other option that you have here, which is really nice to have on the home page, is your map downloads. And if you're not aware of how to use these 2 applications, you're gonna have a rude awakening if you get out into the outdoors where there's no self-service and all of a sudden you don't have maps. So what you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna want to download your map tiles before you leave. And what this is gonna do is it's gonna pre-download all the little map pictures essentially. So when you get out to where there's no service, you have that map to reference. Let me show you how to do that. You're gonna click download maps, and then it's going to basically come up with this screen here. And as you can see where I've already downloaded maps. So let's zoom in here. This is the box that you're going to want to deal with right here. And this is a little bit easier when you set your max zoom. Obviously you're going to look over here for your file size. The smaller you have it, the smaller the file size. The larger you have it, the larger the file size. So this box, you can customize it however you want. You're just going to basically go to the corner, drag it however you like, whatever area. Once you've chosen your area, all you're going to do is push save. You're going to type in whatever you want your map to be called and push download. And it's going to start downloading these maps. So now if I go into that area and I lose service, now I've downloaded those map tiles. So I'm good. I don't have any issues. There's no lost map. There's no me getting lost. There's no craziness. So that's pretty easy, and that's nice to have on the home page. MotionX GPS doesn't have that. It's buried a little more, and I'll show you that in a second here. Another cool function with Gaia is it has a lot of different information, and that's these overlays. And so if you click those, you'll see all these little tabs pop up. And if you click on one of those and hit the info button, it's going to give you a little bit of information about that. And depending on what you click on, it'll give you, hiking info, that kind of thing. Great option to have when you're out and about and you're trying to look for new things and explore new areas. If you scroll over here to the plus button, this is another cool feature that Gaia has that MotionX doesn't. You have your obvious ones, create your waypoint. You can enter in your waypoint here. It shows you your latitude and longitude. You can save it, save and guide me to there. And then my favorite is create a route. And this is kind of a cool feature because it gives you the ability to create your own route. Okay, so we're gonna create this route. You start with your point. You can zoom in a little more. You can see this little hiking trail that we got here. And I'm going to start creating a route so I have a line to follow rather than just waypoints. And all I need to do to create that route is start dragging this line. And you can move your waypoints as you go along. And I'm just going to keep following this line, and then we'll call that good. So we're going to save that, and we're going to enter it in whatever you want to call it, test route. So aside from that, the only other options that you have with Gaia is your search bar. And then this button kind of centers you to where you are currently. If you hit it a couple times, just like on MotionX GPS, it's going to point you in the direction that you're traveling in, or just true north. So that's pretty much it. Those are pretty much all your options on Gaia. I'll cut to the chase now. Gaia is what we're actually moving forward with. Although we love MotionX GPS, you're going to see here in a second how difficult it is to actually do the same functions. So let's hop back to MotionX GPS, and I'm going to show you some of the functions that we just did on Gaia. Okay, one of the first things you want to do is download your maps, correct? So let's do that on MotionX GPS. So you're going to click menu, you're going to go to setup, you're going to go to map downloads, and then you're going to go to download new maps. This is going to give the options for the map types that you can download in, and I'm just going to use Topo because that's the one I like. Okay, so here's your map download screen, and you're going to have 2 options. Basically, you're going to have area and route, and this is going to be the ways that you kind of download the map tiles in the area that you want. So if you hit area, as you can see, you just drag the circle, scroll in on the map. So you click route, and you can basically control your area based on these circles. So you have your start point and your end point, and you can drag to adjust how thick you want the area to be. Okay, now on the top you can see your minimum zoom and your maximum zoom. Your maximum zoom is going to be how far you can zoom in. Your minimum zoom is going to be how far you can zoom out. Minimum zoom isn't so important as maximum zoom because you want to be able to see that trail in detail. That way you can follow it and not get lost. So minimum I usually put to 3 because that actually doesn't adjust this file size a whole lot. So I'll just put that down to 3. And usually maximum size I'm going to get somewhere between 14 and 15 before the file size gets too big to download. So if I put it up to 15, so it's 128 kilobytes, I'm going to push download. It's going to basically pop up with the screen here, and now you're downloading. So that's the same thing that we did in that one screen on Gaia. So you can see how it gets to be a little bit more difficult. Side note, you're going to want to make sure your map tiles are downloaded previously to actually going on your trip. So a good way to do this is put your tablet in airplane mode and then zoom in on the map area that you just downloaded. And if it doesn't load, then you know that you didn't get the tiles for that area. I've learned this the hard way. Believe me, you want to take the extra time to make sure those maps are downloaded, because there's nothing worse than being out in the middle of nowhere and all of a sudden your map disappears and you don't have any detail and you can't see where you're going. So it's really important that you go ahead and check to make sure it's downloaded. Okay, now we've got our map downloaded, now we're ready to go. Okay, as you can see, they're both great apps. They both do generally the same thing, but just because of the ease of use, you can see Gaia is starting to take #1 spot in this race. Let's dive into map availability. This is key and paramount when you're talking about outdoor exploration, because a lot of times you're going to be cross-referencing different maps because they're going to have different data. So MotionX GPS makes it almost impossible to get outside maps onto your iPad, but it is possible, and I'll link the website below that gives great descriptions on how to do it and how to download it. It's a pain, but it's doable, and once you do, there's actually some good maps on there that are pretty usable. Alright, that was navigation with Gaia and MotionX GPS. That was a super brief overview, but honestly, both of these applications work exceptionally well for traveling the backcountry, so just pick your poison. Obviously, Gaia worked best for us, but not everything works for all applications, so you just have to assess the situation and pick the weapon that works best for the opponent at hand. As always, don't be afraid to hammer down on that like button, and if you have any questions, comment below. We're also doing a recovery giveaway for every 500 subscribers we hit, so once you've smashed that like button, comment subscribed in any of our videos for your chance to win some sweet gear from Spartan Rope, ARB, Warren, and Traction Jacks. And as always, we'll see you guys later.